All right, y'all. So I'm Gwyneth Moody, and I'm the Community Programs Coordinator for Georgia River Network, which means I get to spend a lot of time with people like you out in the community working on cool things like water trails. So first of all, how many of you guys know what a water trail is? Sometimes I assume that people do, and I shouldn't. So raise your hand if you've ever heard of a water trail. Okay, I'd say about half of you guys, so that's pretty good, given that I'm kind of preaching to the choir, sort of. So let me just kind of go over what it is. And do you guys recognize these lovely ladies by any chance? One of them is actually on Paddle Georgia. Cynthia Cox and Sarah Topper. They're awesome Paddle Georgians. Yeah. So let me see if I can make this work. Next. There we go. Yeah, maybe, would you mind hitting the lights somebody so they can see? All right, so a water trail is a section of river with public access used for recreational boating, canoeing, kayaking, and fishing. And really, there's kind of some basic points that have to be included. So think of a greenway that you have in your city, so a trail that's open to the public. People can come and use it, recreate on it, enjoy it. It's an amenity for the community. But in this case, it's on a river or a lake, a body of water. And it has to have a few things. I'm going to move forward. We'll go back to this map in just a second. But these are the criteria for a water trail to be considered established by the Georgia River Network. Right now, we do not have a statewide water trail program. So right now, Georgia River Network has kind of taken that up, and we're the ones that have established these criteria in order to kind of set benchmarks for communities to achieve in order to be posted on our website. And we do have a water trails website that lists all of the water trails. So first of all, there has to be public access, areas where paddlers can unload boats and park vehicles. You probably have seen a lot of access points that are kind of on the side of a bridge, and it's got a steep embankment, and it's kind of treacherous, so we do not consider that a good access point. We want those to be improved to be safe and friendly for paddlers and other recreationalists to use. And also, river access sites are appropriately spaced apart on the river to provide sections reasonably paddled in a few hours or a full day. So you want to make sure that your put-in and your take-out aren't 60 miles apart, so when people put in the river, they have nowhere to get out in a full day and they're stuck out there. So we generally consider about, depending on if you're, the velocity of the water flow, about a 2-hour paddle is pretty decent, what we would like to see, given that some novice paddlers get out there and they don't want to be out there all day. And then also overnight camping, we love to see that. It's not a requirement necessarily, but it's something we hope that groups will achieve. And then also information about the water trail is provided to paddlers through a website, as well as maps created by a sponsoring entity. So a lot of times if you go to a water trail, you'll see there's a kiosk there, and there's a big map on it, shows you where the next takeout is. If there's any kind of obstacles or Niagara Falls around the bend, you want to know that if you're about to get on the river, right? So we want to make sure that information is easily accessible for people. And then also that the trail is sponsored and maintained and promoted by a local entity or sponsorship. So, there's got to be some kind of organization behind it all that's maintaining it and just, making sure that the public is aware that it exists. So that's kind of what a water trail is in a nutshell. And then these are the benchmarks for a successful water trail that are part of the National Water Trail System. So beyond the state of Georgia, we have a national water trail system that was established by Obama as part of the America Great Outdoors program. And it's really an exciting program, and it's gained a lot of popularity throughout the nation. And Georgia, the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area, where we are paddling for Paddle Georgia, was actually the first designated water trail in the nation, which is a pretty big deal for Georgia, considering we're not the most progressive state in the country. So we were really excited for that to happen, and so just keep that in mind as you paddle the trail. So you can see these benchmarks that are in place from the National Water Trail System. These are the 13 established water trails in Georgia, and then there are 8 that are developing as well. So they haven't necessarily achieved all of the criteria. The 8 developing and the 13 established have. So you might notice the river that's in your neighborhood on that list. And if you don't, and you know there's a great paddleable section in your community, we hope that you and other community members work on making that a water trail, because that's something that is really beneficial to the community. And these are the benefits. So there's economic benefits, there's recreational, conservation, and education. There's Alan Crawford right there. So some of the economic benefits, there's increased tourism and spending in the local area, and existing businesses increase profits, restaurants, outfitters, lodging, they all benefit. New businesses develop to support the trail. There's festivals and events, and they all benefit the local community with a higher quality of life, and ding, 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 an improved tax base. So that's really important when you're trying to convince public officials that it's a good thing to bring in the community. There's just some figures about outdoor recreation and kind of the main area of interest for visitors who come into Georgia. You see 20%, 20.9% outdoor recreation. And then percent of people participating in outdoor recreation, I've kind of put all the water-based activities here on the right side. You can see beach, waterfront, rafting, boating, sailing, fishing. Out of all the outdoor recreational activities, about half. And of course, national and state parks, that also includes water activities. So a large number of people are participating in these activities and spending money on them, and that's also really huge. These are billions of dollars that are spent. Okay, so this is a really big deal, especially when you're trying to get one in your community. Recreation, fun pictures, it's economical. You don't have to build the trail. It's already there, so you just need to have the landing put in place and some facilities. And then some of the benefits of improved river access, so increased property value. The river traffic is distributed as well, so a lot of times you'll see an outfitter on a section of river and it's really crowded and almost too much. So this kind of distributes it evenly across the river. And then generates volunteer interest and cleanups and public awareness and support for conservation. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Long day on the river. Gateway to conservation, you guys, I'm sure, are aware of Rivers Alive and Adopt a Stream, and if you aren't, you should be, and come ask me afterwards, and all the other Georgia River Network and Adopt a Stream folks that can tell you more about that. Here's an example of a kiosk on the Broad River, really nicely done. Yay! All right, promote river etiquette. I'm not going to read through all these, but basically, being what am I thinking of? Courteous, thank you. Long down the river. Okay, courteous to private property owners, that's a big thing. And, just respecting the river. Here's some examples of maps, okay? Altamont River Canoe Trail. You got Tacoma River Canoe Trail. So they're all very different. Broad River Water Trail. Etowah River Water Trail. This one's really neat. It's an interactive water trail map. And you can see here, you can actually click on the different launches and it'll tell you information about them. And this is the new one that just came out, the Ocmulgee Water Trail. So this is awesome. Very well done map. It's got 11 counties that all put this together, a big partnership. And then there's governmental resolutions of support, just trying to get a community to support the water trail. And it's just a really great thing to have your whole community behind it, and all the different people that can benefit from it, which is really everybody. And then resolutions of support that have been signed. There's a lot throughout the state. And if you have questions about resolutions of support, I can tell you more. We also have a Water Trails website, like I mentioned, that has a toolkit that has all kinds of information in it to help you get started on developing your water trail. And so one of the things that I do, in addition to coming out on paddling trips and taking pictures and videos, is work with communities on building their water trails. And so these are the kinds of things that we put together. So we put together fact sheets to get the word out to the community, as well as those resolutions of support. And then we also recently just established a Georgia Water Trails Working Group, and we've developed standards and criteria signage, resolutions of support, launch kiosk material, paddling safety, river etiquette, and the Georgia Water Trail logo. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of these water trail groups, they've already done the research. Don't go and spend the resources yourself. Get this information from the Georgia Water Trail Working Group. We can help you get this going. And that's it. Quick and dirty. So please ask me any questions later if you're interested in getting a water trail established in your community. How many of you guys are actually a member of a watershed group in your community? Wow. Okay. So that's your assignment after this, is to find out, number one, who your watershed group is, and sign up and become a member, because that is the first place to start and really doing river protection restoration. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys on the river tomorrow.